also here with, I'll bring Gina Loudon into the conversation, political analyst and a member of the President's Media Advisory Board. I don't know how that ever sells. I really don't, because I think instinctively, Gina, every single one of us wants to keep as much as we possibly can of every penny that we earn. And the idea that you're just going to give it away to Uncle Sam so that Uncle Sam can spend it on whatever Uncle Sam spends it on, I don't know how that would ever sell. And I actually think it's kind of a dumb idea of Nancy Pelosi to be putting that forward, because, she has any shot at winning. It's not going to be telling people they're going to pay more taxes.
I used to say the Democrats were imploding, but now, Trish, I'll say the Democrats have imploded. They have no message. They have very few candidates to speak of. They're having to run on Trump's coattails. I mean, think of that for a moment. I think after tonight's rally, we'll start to see Donnelly doing the same thing. I think he'll be running on the Trump platform, the conservative Republican platform. They think they can go around for years and act like socialists, and then right before an election, they're going to come in and act like conservatives, because you're right, Trish. We do like to keep our tax dollars.
Well, look, Ed knows I grew up in New Hampshire, and there are 11 Democrats running in the primary there. Not one of them, Ed, is saying that they support Nancy Pelosi. Not one single Democrat. So you see, they're all trying to distance themselves from that.
Nancy Pelosi comes from a district that's 82% Democrat, San Francisco. It's the second most California. Barbara Lee has one that's 83%. It's the second largest Democrat state. She can say that. I'm reminded of Walter Mondale. The only negative commercial we ran against Walter Mondale in 1984 was he said at the convention, "I'm going to raise taxes, Reagan's not. I'm going to tell you I'm going to raise taxes, he's not." We went out and beat him 49 votes. And so my sense, you're not going to find many Democrats following Nancy Pelosi saying, please elect me, I'm going to go take your taxes.
No, I guess you're appealing to sort of the masses that maybe don't want to actually go out and work, Gina Loudon. That's the problem here, right? Then that's, if you're in your heart a socialist and you want to kick back and not go to work every day, but want the government to take care of you, and Nancy Pelosi is promising to tax everyone else, then maybe that's who you bring in as the voting population. But I don't think you have enough of those people. And I think that this election really showed you the majority of Americans want prosperity. They want optimism, and they want a chance for themselves and their children to be able to compete. So how does the president drive home that message about economic prosperity in 2018?
Well, I think he is driving it home. I think we're seeing that reflected in his numbers going up, and even that of the First Lady's numbers going up. The president's numbers going up with women. I think they've doubled in the last 4 weeks, if I remember the statistics correctly, and with all minorities. And I think that, money absolutely talks. I've said for years, conservatives and all the voters in America generally, they talk with their pocketbooks. So when their pocketbooks are being talked to, they're talking back, and they're going to do it in the midterm elections.
I think all these things are, they play off each other pretty interestingly, Niger. Whether it's economic security or actual physical security. And so that gets us back to the success he's had thus far with North Korea. So if he gets a real win there, and when I say a real win, bringing some kind of peace to that peninsula and the denuclearization of North Korea to the world, then that's something that's, I don't know how you paint that. I know they'll try in a bad light. The question is it going to be enough to really motivate people to get out? Because as Ed said earlier, there's a little fatigue, a little malaise out there, and the base is not necessarily as fired up to go to the voting booths in midterms in any election.
Well, that is exactly why the president is going to places like Indiana, and he's going to make his face well seen in campaign 2018. And, certainly an old friend of my dad's, Ed Rollins, will remember the Reagan Revolution and how that led to the fall of the Berlin Wall. Well, with President Trump and what he's doing in North Korea, we could have the fall of the Berlin Wall for this generation, which is not only having peace and a denuclearized demilitarized Korean peninsula, but a possible unity of the two Koreas in the formal end of the Korean War. That would be a miracle. That would be amazing. And I have to just tell you this, Trish, I have a personal interest here because my brother is raising a family in nearby Japan. So it's within the interests of the Koreas, it's within the interests of Japan, of China, of the Far East, and American security generally. And it would be a bit of a foreign policy miracle for the president to pull this off.
Okay, so here's my question to Ed. How does this happen that you get someone in there that the media despises? And let's be clear, they didn't like Reagan very much either. I mean, it's at a whole different level these days, but they didn't like Reagan. They thought he was crazy. He's just an actor. He can't do anything. And then lo and behold, he accomplishes a ton, whether it be from an economic perspective or, you know, Mr. Gorbachev, take down this wall. I mean, what is it in the individual, do you think, Ed, that leads to that kind of greatness? Because he's walking a tightrope, right? I mean, this could go awfully wrong as well.
First of all, the way it works, I teach a course, the American presidency at Hofstra. I have for the last 10 years. Just finished the course, and I start with Washington. I move all the way forward. Historically, what happens is you and I analyze presidents as they function, and we make judgments, good, bad, and different. 4 years from now, 5 years from now, political scientists kind of go back and say, well, this is really what may have happened. And 25 years from now, historians go back and they basically re-rank them. Someone like Truman who couldn't get reelected, became a great president. Eisenhower. And in my case, when the brush gets all cleared out of here, you look only at the accomplishments.
I want to point out, Ed, as you're speaking, the president is coming out here. Lots of cell phones up trying to get a picture there, a lot of excitement. One of his signature songs being played. Let's listen into it right now.